He's one of those artists and I play music. That's what I am. You should know that he's from the church. You should know that his mother is a preacher and he plays music at church. This is what I do. It's fine if I release a record." The news shocked the music world on October 14th. After a long illness, D'Angelo, the soul of neo-soul, died at the age of 51. He did not have a public funeral or press meeting. Instead, his family made a cold statement. He is going home and leaving this world behind. The arts world was shocked. Fans stopped talking. During that sad time, Erykah Badu, D'Angelo's spiritual guide for more than 20 years, showed up in front of the cameras, lights, and an old hard drive. That was her husky voice coming out of nowhere. This is the video they tried to hide. What was in it? Were D'Angelo's last words or a curse he had carried since Angie Stone's death? Stone had said she was being chased by a dark force. 3 minds, 3 deaths, 3 souls, and the strange quiet of Los Angeles. Now that Badu has decided to tell everyone, one question still stands. Does the video show a man who is dying or a plot that has been kept secret for too long? Why would someone want to bury the bond between Badu and D'Angelo forever? That's the first thing we need to know in order to figure out what that footage really is. The neo-soul link between D'Angelo and Erykah Badu. Neo-soul is the greatest level of music soul. It's where the voice sounds like a prayer and the drum beat sounds like God's heartbeat. There were 2 people in that holy place who did more than just make music. It was where they lived. Erykah Badu and D'Angelo were 2 lonely people living in a noisy world. They made their own church where good faith and evil came together. Erykah Badu was born in Dallas, Texas in 1971. She grew up in the church and heard gospel and jazz music. She was different from a very young age. She did more than sing. She did things with her words. Her album Baduism came out in 1997 and went on to sell over 3 million copies and win 2 Grammys, making her the queen of neo-soul. Still, behind the hat and calming air, Badu could never hide how uncomfortable she felt. She once said, "Music heals, but it's also dangerous. It hears things humans aren't meant to hear." At the same time, Michael Eugene Archer, better known as D'Angelo, was writing the first chapter of the same story in Richmond, Virginia. Born in 1974, he grew up in a church choir and knew he was having a hard time with his faith. His first album, Brown Sugar, released in 1995, featured hits like Lady Cruisin' and Me, Those Dreams, and Eyes of Mine. It went on to sell over 2 million copies and, along with Maxwell and Lauryn Hill, became a key figure in the neo-soul trend. D'Angelo, on the other hand, wanted more than just fame. He tried to figure out the soul of music and sometimes the soul of himself. There was a frequency between Erykah and D'Angelo that was like yin and yang. It was a energy event when they met for the first time during a recording session in 1997. It wasn't because they sang together. It was because the room stopped moving as if time stopped. People said they could hear each other even when there was no sound after that. Both were raised in the church and didn't want art to be commercialized. They also thought that every song was a prayer. Then, in 1999, the union did what had to be done. Of 2 souls, Your Sweet Love. Their song, Best Man Together, wasn't just a love song. It was a promise. Badu's voice popped like smoke from an incense stick. D'Angelo's voice was as thick as honey on fire. They sang as if they were talking to each other from life and death, from light and dark. It never made it to number 1. Still, it was praised as the hymn of neo-soul music that went beyond the charts and became a tradition. After that, stories began to spread. Some people said that D'Angelo and Badu had a spiritual bond and that they not only sang together but also talked to each other. At the time, D'Angelo was seeing the famous singer-songwriter Angie Stone, who is 3 years older than him. Stone helped him write Brown Sugar. Michael Archer Jr., their boy, was born in 1998, but when D'Angelo released his second album, Voodoo, in 2000, it included the now iconic song How Does It Feel? Without a title. The world saw a different guy, bare-chested and hollow-eyed, who gave off a divine and dangerous energy. In the meantime, Badu had become interested in magic. In the black arts community, she was seen as a messenger because she used sound to talk about energy, frequency, and rebirth. She often called D'Angelo her soul brother because he was the only person who understood the darkness she lived with. They kept meeting alone in recording sessions that were closed to the public. No press, no cameras, just drums, piano, and prayer. Insiders in the music business say that Badu and D'Angelo once worked on a secret demo together for 47 hours straight. Badu chanted old Yoruba lines while D'Angelo made up drum beats on the spot. He remembered as a sound engineer. At one point, the microphone picked up some strange sounds that wouldn't go away. Erykah said, "It's okay. They're listening." They were both forgotten by the world from 2001 to 2005. D'Angelo fell into sadness, drinking too much, a car accident, and several arrests. He told Badu in a rare interview, "Something's pulling me down. I feel like I'm being watched." When asked about him, Badu just smiled and said, "He's not lost. He's being called." In 2008, they performed together again in Atlanta without any news or plans. People who saw Badu sing Green Eyes and D'Angelo play The Roads behind her said that the stage lights flickered and for a moment they both closed their eyes as if they were listening to an unseen voice. From then on, they were known as the Black Soul Disciples. They never confirmed that they were dating, but everyone felt like they had a connection that went beyond love. In a 2015 NPR talk show, Badu said, "When D'Angelo and I sing together, something bigger than both of us is speaking." In a 2019 interview, D'Angelo said, "She's the only one who gets how scared I am." However, after years of vacillating between the light and dark sides of music, D'Angelo, whom Badu once described as a soul in human form, began to cross a line that no one else dared to touch. This time there was no stage, no drums, no audience, just a cold room, a silent piano, and an artist listening as his own soul faded beat by beat. D'Angelo's brutal battle against illness. People who knew him well said he started to complain of being tired around mid-2023 while working on his new album. At first, he thought it was just from too much work, but soon he had to see a doctor, who diagnosed him with stage 2 pancreatic cancer. D'Angelo never told anyone about it. He kept recording, going to the studio, and playing in small jam sessions with friends. But people noticed that he looked different. His skin had turned darker, his eyes had become deeper, and his voice had become softer. One sound engineer said that during his last sessions, he would often stop in the middle of a take, sit still and say, "My body is fighting, but my soul is tired." By the end of 2022, he started treatment at a medical center in Nashville. Later records confirmed that he went through 6 rounds of chemotherapy, each of which made him noticeably weaker. Doctors said he stayed calm throughout, often listening to his old demos, especially Africa from his 2000 album Voodoo, a song that used to make him cry because, as he put it, it was sung through faith, not voice. At the start of 2024, D'Angelo canceled all of his shows and stopped talking to the media. He gave a short statement for personal reasons. Friends said he stayed home, ate little, and saved his energy for writing. One old friend remembered, "He said if he couldn't perform anymore, at least I would write music." He wanted to leave behind something real, and he did. While he was getting treatment, D'Angelo recorded more than 40 demos, mostly using just the Rhodes piano and soft percussion. He named the folder Light after the voodoo god, and many people think it was his way of talking to himself, a journey of release rather than despair. By the middle of 2025, his health had gotten worse quickly. The cancer had spread, leaving him severely weak. He refused to stay in the hospital for long periods of time, telling his doctor, "I don't want to die in a white room. The music makes me want to die." And that is exactly what he did. Neighbors said they could still hear piano sounds drifting from his house every night. Not loud, not rush, just a few repeating chords sometimes with his faint voice humming like a prayer. His son, Michael Jr., said at a memorial service, "My father wasn't afraid of dying. He was only scared that he would never hear music again." By early October 2025, his health had become very bad. His family took him back to a hospital in Richmond for care at the end of his life. 3 days later, on October 14, 2025, early in the morning, D'Angelo died peacefully in his sleep. The hospital report only said, cardiac arrest due to complications from pancreatic cancer. The family quickly released a statement thanking fans and asking for privacy during this trying time. The service was small and not many people showed up. There won't be any public videos, pictures, or live streams. The public thought the story stopped there, with a white wreath on his Rhodes piano and a note that said, "Music is where I began. It's where I return." Someone who was very good at music died after a long illness. But many of the people who knew him best thought something was wrong. The process of his treatment wasn't well recorded. No public health data. No doctor ever confirmed the plan. An